Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Good to see you. We are live, and it is Wednesday, July 13th. You can see I'm live. I was waking up, trimming my beard and my scraggly beard, and listening to how high housing cost is feeling inflation. So that's what's on the podcast this morning from my beard trimming session. Um, if you're just listening, you can't see that I just held up my phone to prove that we were live, and that was the Spotify thing that was sitting on my screen. So, we go live every single Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We're pumped that you are here. If you're live with us, leave us a little comment and let us know where you're tuning in from. It's always fun to see people all over the world tune into this thing live. Lots of people tune in as a replay as well. Just so you all know, if you want to get a text message reminder when we go live, we send out a short little text message every single morning when we go live. And it just says, it literally just says, like, hey, we're going live with XYZ person, and they're going to tell us about, whatever. See, all you have to do to get that reminder is you send a text message from your phone. And you know what? I just got my message right now. And here it is. Boom. From David Sharpe. Do you feel like it's taking longer to see results? So you send a text message. It should say WUL. So you text the letters WUL. That's in the message to 813-296-8553. If you're watching, you can see it on the screen right now. And we just send out a short little message. We don't try to sell you anything. We're not trying to scam you or try to sell you a bunch of products for thousands of dollars in these text messages. In fact, in the years that we've been doing these text messages, we've never sold anything. So this is just a way for us to remind you, hey, we're live. Join us. This should become part of your routine. If anything else, just to have a place where you can wake up and hear an inspiring story rather than waking up to Fox News or CNN or some total and complete BS about God knows what is, who knows, a lot of stuff going on in the world. And wouldn't it be better to start your day with an inspiring story of somebody who's like a go-getter, taking action, is excited about life, is pumped up, and is on a really cool journey. So that's what we do every single Monday through Friday. Also, if you'd like to get any sort of legendary marketer merch, I have a little bit sitting right next to me. You can go to belegendary.shop. Really easy to remember. Belegendary.shop. You can see I've got my t-shirts sitting around here. And yeah, it's super affordable. It's not a big, again, our markup on that isn't crazy. We mostly just want to get it in your hands. We want to let you wear it. So belegendary.shop. And if you all, wow, we've got New York City, we've got Florida's in the house, we've got where else? Pennsylvania's in the house, Indiana, we've got Jersey, Alabama, Florida. What's up, everybody? Oak Park, I know right where that is. I had some friends live there. Philly, oh man, Jarius, what's up, my brother? North Carolina, Minnesota, California. All right, now if you all can give us a little hand clap emoji, we want to welcome in our guest for today. V, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
I'm good.
Tell everybody how nervous you are.
I am so nervous, guys.
All right. We just chatted for a minute before getting on, and she's like, "Oh my God, I am so nervous."
Yes.
Um, well, cool. I'm excited that you're here, and I'm excited that you're nervous because
Yeah.
everybody who's sitting here watching this is like, "Oh man, other people get nervous too." Like
Yeah.
I thought it was just me. Well, cool. So tell us a little bit about you. Tell us about some of your journey to going online. And, I think if I read right, you quit your job last year, towards the end of last year, and
I did.
um, didn't want to go back to a 9 to 5. But tell us about the job you were working, what that was like, why you decided to quit your job, how you found Legendary. Just bring us into your world.
Okay, yeah. So I quit my job. I was in healthcare. And well, with COVID, we became super short staffed. And
Mm,
it was so hectic. The workload that we had to carry on, it was just ridiculous. So we
mm,
even had to work overtime, work Saturdays, which is kind of odd for, um, I guess, like an office setting.
yeah.
And so I was putting in a lot of hours. And I have a daughter, and
Mm,
she is my only child. And she's going to be 16 this Friday. So I'm like, dude, like this time has flown by. Like in 2 years, this girl's already
yeah.
talking about college. And I'm just like, whoa, wait, like you're leaving? I don't want you to
Yeah.
leave. So I just feel like we missed out on so much.
Mm,
So I was like, screw this. Like, I need to do something else. I want to stay home with her. I want to just kind of make up for time loss. And so I quit. I quit not just because of that. I quit over like the work situation, just driving across town and then all the way back. So I'd have to leave earlier than she'd go to school, and I'd have to come home later. And
mm.
it was just not working out for us. Like I was so stressed out. So, and it's crazy because I had actually come across Legendary the year prior, and I
Wow.
kind of just brushed it off, and I was like, no, like I was interested in it, but I just didn't jump on board because I had other things going on. So I was like, no. And then I came across it
Mm,
after I had quit my job, and I was like, hello, like I remember this opportunity. So I was like, I'm jumping right on it because I had no plans on going back to healthcare 9 to 5. Like I was just over it. I knew I wanted to do something for myself
okay.
and to, have time with my daughter. And so I did. And I had I guess I completed the training at the end of November.
Yep.
And I officially started in January just because I was kind of like in my head, like with doubt and fear of being on camera like I am right now. And
Sure.
it's just kind of like, I was like, you know what? Like, I have to make this work. Like, I know why I don't want to go back to the 9 to 5. So, and I have to remind myself, like, this is why you're doing this. And so I just push that play on and I just do it. And
Dang.
yeah, it takes me a while to finally find a clip that I'm comfortable with. And I'm just like, all right, let's do it. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So from all the way from wow, you had seen it in 2020. You had seen that. Wow.
Yeah, I did. Exactly a year prior, I
Mm,
saw it November
mm.
2020. I remember because we were moving into a new home. So
Okay.
that's why I didn't
Yeah.
start. I had a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's a lot. Yeah. It's what's funny to me is I just feel like people have different sort of timelines, but there's this unconscious, I feel like almost like an intuition or something where people just have a little there's this span of time that they just need to sort of just sit.
Yeah.
And there's things moving under the surface, but everybody who's looking at above the surface is like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Like,
Yeah.
What's going on here?" Um and yeah, no, I think that's cool because I think sometimes people rush into it, and also sometimes people don't have the patience for other people. Like there's certainly some people who would have told you, "Wow, what a wasted year." I mean, geez, what were you doing for a whole year? You could have been, and all this stuff,
Right.
right? And done that whole game, but um, no, I think there's things that happen and things happen at people's own pace and own time.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, like you're in your 30s and it's like you have at least, if everything goes right, at least 30, 40, 50 plus more years of life. Like you're just getting
Exactly.
started, like
Exactly.
things are just getting going, and it's awesome to discover something like this, or an ability to make money on the internet or have income that's not tied to you being in a certain location at a certain time. I think that's cool. And
Yeah.
well, that's super cool that you got started. And so from the time in November until now, that's like a 7 month, 8 month ish journey.
Oh my God.
um
Long
there's
journey.
yeah, well, I mean, when you started the challenge, there's some nerves around being on video. There's some nerves around being like, on camera and stuff like that. And I'm curious up until now, like what have you learned about that experience, and what tips and tricks would you have for other people who are like, geez, I could never do that. I could never like put myself on camera. That's crazy.
Oh my God, it was tough. It's more of a mental thing because I see people on TikTok. I scroll through TikTok still, and I just fall in love with these total strangers and just for being themselves. So I'm like, why the heck am I trying to make everything look so perfect and look my best? Like nobody cares. Like it's really just resonating with the individual that builds that connection. So
Mm.
now, whenever I create content, I'm just like, let's just do this, and I'm not even gonna look at it. I'm just gonna edit it and you know send it off. And
Yeah.
that's, I mean, it kind of took me a while because don't look at my first videos, please, because they're horrible.
Oh, as soon as you
uh,
say that, everybody, what they do is they scroll and they just go straight to your first videos.
I know, I hate it. I'm like, should I delete a few? I'm like, nah, just leave them there. Who cares? So, yeah, it just, I don't know. It just takes practice, I guess. Kind of have to remind yourself why you started this in the first place and just go with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, totally. And I think, as I look at like a lot of your content and stuff, it's really good creative content. And
Thank you.
you're almost at 10,000 followers. Even if that happens over the course of 5, 6, 7 months, like it's happened to other people faster. And sometimes that's not sustainable. Sometimes it is. But getting to 10,000 followers means you objectively did something right. Like
Yeah.
you had to have captured an audience, and something about your marketing and your style had to have grabbed them and caught their attention, and which is really powerful. And um, you're what are you at now? Like 9,900 followers. You're super close. After this show, you'll definitely have 10,000 because there's at least 80 people who will come on here and who will follow you on TikTok. So, but I think if there was like an initial takeaway for me from your journey from, let's say, finding our challenge in October, November, to being where you're at now, I even find it interesting that like, and I have this too, very similar. Are you kind of introverted or extroverted more?
Introvert.
Okay. Yeah, me too. And by a long shot, especially when I first got started online. And I think what's really powerful is that I've always had this kind of secret belief that um, introverts have an intuitive skill about how to connect with people. And
Hmm.
so I think a lot of times that introverts who have 5 or 10 or 15,000 followers on TikTok or on Instagram or something, those followers are inherently a little bit higher quality followers because um, introverts sort of know how to push through the screen a little bit
Yeah.
into people's minds and hearts and connect with people. But also, I think it's telling that, or it's just interesting. I'm just making an observation that it seems like you're nervous on one hand, but you don't appear to be nervous, right? Like you're not
Right.
like, I don't know. It doesn't come across to me like, wow, like, geez, this person's really nervous. And I don't think anybody watching here is like, wow, look at her. She's so nervous, you know? I don't really think that's the case. I don't, um, and what I think my takeaway from that is you've built sort of a resistance or sort of I think that, introverts have the capability of sort of learning, um, uh, all people have this. I shouldn't just say introverts, but I think extroverts know it and understand it easier. It comes more intuitively to them, the ability to walk into a room and sort of quickly adapt socially and
Right.
like, okay, how am I going to navigate this? Right. I walk into a room and it's just like, oh my God, this is so awkward.
Go directly
Um,
to my seat.
yeah, let's do you're right, directly to my seat in the back row. and
Exactly.
don't talk to me, or especially not small talk, right?
Yeah.
But um, my guess is, in a lot of ways, what I experienced online was doing all of this really helped me in person too. And my guess is that you, in a lot of ways, have sort of learned or adapted new skills and skill sets in that way of like socially and connecting with people, but also just pretty simply, I would say, like performing, like just being a presence on camera to people, and having sort of speaking with confidence and speaking with clarity. And that's a really cool, I would say, if that happened in 6 months, to me, that feels fast, like I
Yeah.
think the theme of today has been, wow, it's been slow or whatever, but that's pretty fast.
I honestly feel like I could have, I guess, like, how can I say? I could have done better sooner because I did go live once and only once. And I felt like it was a train wreck because I was so nervous and I was just talking super fast and I wasn't even like acknowledging the comments on screen that were coming in. And I was just like, okay, guys, like I have to go. Like it was so embarrassing.
I
I even
have
had
to
my daughter
go.
sit down with me just so I can feel comfortable
Sure.
doing the live. And I was just like, I went live for like 6 minutes and I made, it was, I should be going live more, but I just can't, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's should is an interesting word, right?
Yeah.
Um, No, I think here's let me just give you this nugget of information, and then you can do whatever you want with it. But the
Okay.
people who are going live regularly, who there's a breakthrough moment, I promise you, on the live aspect. There's a breakthrough moment. It happens for everybody who goes live enough, where it you snap out of it and you immediately, like, it's almost like a night and day just shift. And eventually, after going live enough, every single person experiences what you're talking about, every one of them. The awkwardness, the how the hell do I figure this out? It's just you are dropped into it's like a fish out of water. And everybody who goes live regularly has that moment. And it might last for 5 like lives, it might last for 10. It's usually not super long though. Like,
Yeah.
it usually happens pretty quick on about your 5th or 10th live or something like that. You'll just be like, "Okay, I have more presence here. I get this. I figured it out." And and, um, and then just shifts, and suddenly you don't have that anymore. And I had that happen because I used to do webinars back in the day, but more recently, I was feeling really nervous when speaking at our masterminds. And I had spoken on webinars hundreds of times, like
Yeah.
maybe thousands, I don't know. Not nervous at all. But every time I walked up in front of a room, my whole body just tightened up. And I was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, like, why am I so nervous? I could puke. And, um, and I felt it, my voice was weak, and you say
Mhm.
that your voice gets louder. My voice was, like, squawking, and I sounded really, like, it was humiliating. And this last time, it was our mastermind in May, was the first time that I walked up in front of the room at our mastermind and felt 0 nerves. So I noticed that my breathing was fine.
Yeah.
I felt totally comfortable. I had
Mhm.
no issues at all. And that was about my 5th or 6th mastermind, I think. So
Wow.
it's right in that it's right in that area of 5 or 6 where you're suddenly you know where to point and click, you know how to,
Mhm.
engage people. So you should keep going live. The other big gold nugget that I wanted to drop to you, and then I'll let you kind of reflect back on that, is a lot of people who are selling an absurd amount of products and making a lot of sales, both in our industry and in other industries too. All sorts of industries are going live.
Yeah.
And to the point where I've seen people sell digital products about this, talking about how they'll train you to go live because these people are going live, and there's some people who are going live and selling like almost like QVC, like they're
Yeah,
selling like
I've
the
seen
home
that.
shopping network style, just selling
Yeah.
watches and jewelry and I don't even know what else, but um anyway, all that to say that you've grown a following of 9,900 people, and sometimes people discount that. So I just don't want you to discount that. There's 9,000 people on Earth, almost 10,000 people on Earth who are like, I want to see more. I want to learn more. You're teaching me valuable stuff. I feel like captivated. How do I learn more from you?
Right.
So definitely just don't discount that. That's a big thing.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm shy in camera, but once I get to know you, I'll open up. So, a lot of like the messages that I get like in the DMs, like, I'm not shy. I don't hold back. I'm very confident
Cool.
in my message, like getting it across. Um, and I just feel like that is where the connection builds. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense to me. And part of what might be helpful to you is sort of viewing your content and your lives that way, right? So especially on a live, like when people come in, when you first go live, I mean, it's tough. I'll just validate your feeling. It's tough. I mean, there's nobody there. You're like, is anybody gonna show up? And I had
Yeah.
that to a certain extent when I started doing live webinars back in 2000, like 11 and 12, where I would go live on a webinar and there's nobody there. And I'm like, oh no. Like, and I would just do the webinar so I could send it out to my tiny non existent email list after the fact.
Right.
And it was just such a joke. But, but, um, and you know what? Dave tells the same story. He used to, our very first times going live, everybody's got this day one. For him, he would close himself off in a room with his computer. And he's like, hey, he would tell Aaron, his girlfriend, now wife at the time, um, he would, hey, I got a webinar and I'm going to be really busy for the next hour. And he would click
Mhm.
go live and nobody's there. But, he couldn't let her know that. So he's behind the door, like, hey, we've got a packed house tonight. How's everybody doing? And like,
Right.
just like, all right, I got to show up, and there's just nobody
Exactly.
there.
I love
But,
that.
but, oh yeah, I know. It's so relatable, right? It's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, okay. I'm not the only one who thinks I'm crazy. Um, and mostly it's like, um, I don't know. I just think, the element of going live can become really fun, and it can become a habit where it's like, I it can really shift from like, I'm super intimidated and scared to go live to like, no, I'm really excited, and it almost becomes like a drug in a way. That sounds bad,
Mhm.
but like it becomes like this thing that feeds you dopamine, which is basically a drug.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I think that in a lot of ways, I don't know how we got so fixated on lives, but yeah, the live is a powerful way to do that. Um, it to convert people and to connect with people. I just
Right.
think everything in marketing is psychology, and in the world of going live, what it does for a lot of people is it takes them from conceptual viewers to real engagers, and
Mhm.
when they watch your stuff and they're scrolling through videos and you come up on their for you page and they're like, oh cool, like I want to learn more about that, and they hit follow.
Right.
Well, for them in that moment, you're just a distant creature somewhere out there who's like posting videos, and who knows if you're even real. But if they see you going live and they sit there for even 10 seconds, like people underrate somebody sitting on a live for 10 seconds because their DNA, they're soaking in a lot of things. They're looking down at the bottom left to see if this person's live or if this is like a is this a video or are they live? And
Right.
then, they're sort of contemplating like, do I tune in? Do I not? And also, you might think you don't have viewers, but you might just not have people who have tapped into it yet. You might have
Right.
people who are scrolling and just sitting there and haven't actually watched because I'll do that with lots
I
of
do
different
that.
people. Yeah, you don't actually tap and go into it. And
Yeah,
those don't show up as viewers. So likely, as soon as you hit go live, you've got lots of followers who are sitting there watching and just haven't tapped in yet, right?
right.
So you've got to have a way to frame that whole experience in your mind where you're thinking through, okay, there are people watching this, and I'm going to speak to them confidently, and they start to feel that energy, and that's when they're like, okay, I get it now. Now I've seen it with my eyes. This person's
Hmm.
real, you know. And I understand that this person's has some influence. And also, not do they just have some influence, but somebody showing up and going live, there's a difference. There's a it creates this it's sort of like an authority hack.
Right,
It's somebody doesn't really go live, and especially go live regularly, unless they're really taking it serious. It doesn't mean that you have to go live to take it serious, but
right,
if you are doing these lives, it's like this person's real. Like they're
right,
really getting after it. And it's the same thing with marketing. In general in marketing, if you're going live, or I'm sorry, if you attracted somebody for the first time, it's usually not likely they'll buy from you. If they see your marketing 5, 6, 7, 8 times, way more likely that they'll buy from you. So, if same thing is true with lives. They see you go live one time, it's like, "Okay, that's interesting." They decided to go live this random one-off time. But if you see somebody who's live 5 times, or like I've gone on and seen Calvin Hill live on TikTok almost every day of the week for a
right.
long time. And
Yeah,
it's
like
like,
twice a day
"Oh,
sometimes.
yeah." It's like this is what he does. It's
Hmm.
not a thing he did. This is who he is and what he does.
Right.
And now if I'm tuning in and listening to him talk about digital marketing, my guess is somebody who goes live that much probably knows a thing or two. I'm going to
Yeah.
listen. And in the world of referral-based affiliate marketing, that's where it gets really powerful. It's why his conversion rates are so high
Hmm.
to people who purchase things from him, not just our stuff, anything. It's because
Yeah.
his recommendation carries weight, which yours does too, right? That's
Right.
why 10,000 people follow you on TikTok. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
It does. I see like a lot of people when they have like so many followers, and I'm like, I look at mine and I'm just like, and I am like, I can't beat myself up because I literally, we all start from zero. You know what I mean? And I'm proud of my 9,900.
You should be. Well, you should be proud of it. Yeah. And I always get the sense, uh just because I've felt similarly to you. Like I remember feeling a lot of what you're expressing, which is why I get so passionate about this. Because I remember discounting my following. I remember discounting my email list. I remember just kind of being like, "Oh, it's tiny, I'm never
Yeah.
going to be that one person." I sort of hold them up on a pedestal, and
Hmm.
oh yeah, but they've got 1.2 million followers and I've only got like, 10,000, but man, yeah, not only does everybody start from somewhere, like, a really close mentor of mine told me something I'll probably never forget. He just said, "Dude, on the internet, you've got these big influencers that you look at and you're like, you're like, "Ah, I can never get to that." But the truth is you get wealthy online one click at a time and one follower at a time. And it happens slowly, and it happens over time, and it builds and it grows, and eventually you've got sort of this digital asset, a business where it's like, "Oh, I have a following and I can type an email and get them to do things, or I
Right.
can recommend stuff to them and they'll do it." Like people at their human behavior will actually be impacted by me. um, which requires a lot. It requires that you believe that you should have that power, right? So it means that you've got to be you gotta be up on your stuff. You gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta
Hmm.
believe in what you're talking about. Um, and it requires that you can speak with confidence to people.
Right.
That you can speak, that you can go on your TikTok, which I just looked at your TikTok earlier. It's like you obviously do that. It's very clear. Um, and there's clear calls to action and there's confident calls to action for people, which is why people follow you. Um, which is really cool. I'm curious. I want to hear your take on just like when you go on and post videos. So first of all, when did you start posting videos? So we'll kind of
Beginning
figure out
of January.
January. And
Yeah.
then and how often do you post and what do you take a more structured approach or do you just kind of post when you want to post?
So at first I was doing like 3 videos a day. And I was like, this is kind of like slow growth and everything. And actually last Friday you guys had what's his name? Tyler Wise. And he said
Yes.
he's talking about feeling burnt out, and with my slow growth and everything, I was getting discouraged. There was plenty of times where I was like, I'm done. Like I can't, this isn't for me. But I was like, no, I always look back on my I invested in myself posts and I'm like, okay, this is why
Mm,
I'm gonna keep going. So I'll do that. But I was getting discouraged. Like I said, I did
sure.
stop posting for a time period because I was burnt out. Like I was just exhausted. So what I was doing, I was just posting drafts that I had in
Uh,
my content. So I would just come up with something and I'm like, I'll sit here and I'll think like, dang, like I remember I was here and I said home and I'm like, I'm so glad to be home because I'm not dealing with XYZ that I was dealing with prior. And I'll just make a post about that. And yeah, just keep it going. But now, honestly, it's just once a day I'll post.
yeah.
And I really feel like I'm not gonna bust my brains over trying to get this content out. I'm just gonna go with my own pace, what feels right to me.
Yep.
I'm not in a rush,
Yep.
but I am determined. I'm not in a rush, but I'm not gonna give up at the same
Yes.
time. So.
Yes, yes. And are you posting across multiple different platforms with this content too?
Just with TikTok and Instagram. I tried a Pinterest thing, but I was just like, nah. I mean, it seems easy, and you just create a pin and a description. But I was like, no, I think I've gotten used to the videos, so I'm just gonna stick with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, cool, cool. No, I was gonna say too, we've been having a lot of people recently who had success on TikTok who are also finding their videos go crazy viral on Facebook too. Um, and you could create a Facebook business page and repurpose it on Facebook too. It seems like right now in particular, Facebook over the last few months has really improved their algorithm to get you a lot of followers on Facebook, and they're converting really well. Um, um, Pinterest, kinda, yeah. YouTube Shorts, kinda, but man, Facebook is really hot right now. Like maybe hotter than TikTok in terms of growth
Really?
um, and conversion rates and stuff. So hop on Facebook and
I'll
the
have to.
cool part is that you can connect it to your you can connect it to your Instagram. But if you're already creating it and posting it to IG, it's just like you do the exact same thing on Facebook. It only takes like 2 extra minutes. So if you're already in the habit of doing it on both anyway,
Right.
um, like I've seen the growth for people on Facebook from their reels be way faster than Instagram reels, way faster.
Yeah.
Not everybody, but I would say especially they've done certain things to get you more followers too, and you can put a link in your bio right away. It's just yeah, it's super easy. It's at least, a few extra 100 views, or, if it happens, you get, caught in a good web of their algorithm, it can be a lot of views.
Yeah.
So anyway, just, uh,
Just
just a little pro tip for you.
I'll have to try it out. And then my biggest thing is to myself is I know I have to stay consistent. I know that, I
Yeah.
have gotten discouraged, but I mean, I'm not going to. After seeing the results, and I'm like, dang, this thing really does work. Like, why am I
Yeah.
going to put that on the back burner? Like, I'm not.
Yeah, totally, totally. I think a lot of times too, if it takes you 6 months to get a high ticket sale with something, it's like, "Oh, man, is this just, like, every 6 months?" But I the reality is usually in most cases, honestly, what I see with people is there's this incubation period of about, like, 3 to 6 months for most people. Like, I think what you're experiencing is pretty normal. Like 3 to 6 months for most people where they're just, like, trying to figure it out, trying to navigate the waters and, like, trying
Mhm.
this, trying that, and then boom, something catches on and they're like, "Oh my gosh, okay. Like,
Yeah.
I figured something out here. Now I need to double and triple down on what's working," you know?
Right.
So, 6 months, it's a short amount of time, honestly, in the grand schemes or in the grand scheme. Um but yeah, I would say being consistent is a big
Mhm.
one. And I
It is.
liked what Ty to go back to what you said, I liked what Tyler said because it gives you a little bit more freedom to post good quality content versus
Mhm.
hitting a metric every day.
Right.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Um but I do also I like and appreciate having, hey, I gotta get a piece of content out today because at the very least it keeps you fresh.
Mhm.
And the longer you wait between days between posting, it gets fuzzy about, okay, like what am I doing again? How am I getting, I gotta get this stuff up. What am I doing?
Right.
Um, so I definitely do like having some sort of set structure or a minimum that I have to hit, in order to get my content out. Okay, so for people who are here, and let's speak to the people who are nervous about posting content. Um, in 6 or 7 months of posting content, seeing a lot of growth internally, both with your business and internally, what would you say to people who are sort of sitting in the shoes you were in November or January, um, getting ready to post that first video, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't do this." What would you say to those people?
I would say if you jumped into this, remember why you jumped into this and just go with it. Just keep going. You jumped into this for a reason, obviously for change. And no matter what we all go through, we all want a change. So the only way to get there is really to rely on yourself because no one is going to do it for you. So it's up to you to make that change. And
Mm.
I don't know. That's all I got.
It's great, it's great. I don't know if you've ever, tuned into one of Amy's lives. Amy goes live
Mhm.
all the time. Have you seen her?
She's my favorite.
Yeah. She said, you said you're nervous, but you seem confident to me." Um, and I agree, that was my
Amy.
sentiment overall as well. And yeah, um, we'll probably have Amy on again at some point and ask her for all her tips of going live. We've had her on a couple times, but she's great. She's there
She's
live. And
amazing.
guess what? Think about how you conceptualize, Amy or something because she goes live all the time. We think about
Yes.
her now as like the person who's live on TikTok all the time. But she's just a normal person, right? I mean, she's
She's
just
so
normal,
chill. I love watching
so
her
chill. Yeah.
live.
Well, you know, the only difference between the cool part is really the only difference between Amy and you is just really picking up the phone and tapping the go live button. That's really
Right.
it. That's
Right.
that's kind of crazy, right?
Yes.
Um and that's it. So, hey, thank you so much for coming on today. This was
Thanks
so
for having
fun. Yes, of course. And in a few months, if you want to come back on the show, just send us a little email. Lots of people do this. They'll send us a little email and just say, "Hey, been working hard, still cranking away. Love to come back on the show." And we schedule them right away. We'd love to have you back on.
All right. Thank you, Matt, and
Cool.
everybody.
Thanks. See ya. All right. I'm going to put up dream big dot live big, TikTok and Instagram. Go find her and give her a follow and let her know. Go comment on her social media and say, "Hey, we want to see you go live. Can you go live more often?" uh, and just con her into having to go live. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. But give her a little love. Just say, hey, we saw you on Wake Up Legendary. It was a great show. Let her know one thing you took away from today's show. And there you go. You can find her on TikTok and Instagram, dreambig.live big. And we'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place, as always, 10 a.m. Eastern. We go live every single day. We have been for 2.5 years. We'll keep doing it forever, I guess. I don't know. I don't think we're going to stop. So, yeah, see you tomorrow for another episode of Wake Up Legendary.